After almost a decade of being consistent championship contenders, the OKC Thunder have finally entered a new phase into the franchise's timeline this 2020 to 2021 season, and by default, the Thunder have crowned third-year player and rising star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the face of the team, as well as the number one option on offense. And this early in the season, SGA has been living up to all the expectations as he has visibly displayed maturity to his game while being able to consistently make winning plays for the Thunder during endgame situations. Currently, SGA has fit the star role perfectly as he has been putting up 21.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6.2 assists per game while shooting a career best 37% from the three-point line. Also, 6'3" sophomore player Dort has been lights out as well to begin the season. During his rookie campaign, the undrafted guard was mainly known for his defensive talents, but so far, he ranks second in scoring for OKC while leading the team in steals at the same time. Dort only hit 29% of his shots from deep in his rookie year, but currently, he's been shooting a staggering 37% from three-point range while doing it with high volume as well. Well, so far, these guys have been leading the charge for the Thunder. But within the Thunder's young core, there's one guy who I think isn't getting talked about that much despite contributing on both ends of the floor, showing occasional flashes of playing great winning basketball, and having all the tools to become a future star. And that guy is second-year forward Darius Bazley. So far, there's been a lot of questions about his true potential, but just by looking at his 6'9" frame and his 7-foot wingspan, as well as his overall basketball skills, I think it's just very tempting to hypothesize how good he can become in the future. But honestly, this guy has everything needed to emerge as one of the best two-way players in the game. He has the potential, the perfect opportunity, and the right environment where he can blossom into a real star in this league. And at this point, I don't think it's a matter of whether he'll be good or not anymore, but when. So what's good guys, it's Rero Balls here, and in this video, we'll dive deeper into Darius Bazley, his development, his game, which player we can compare him to, and just how good of a player he can become. But before we move on, it would be great if you guys could smash the like button right now because it helps the channel to grow for me to be able to put up more NBA content in the future. So let's get to it. In the 2019 NBA Draft, the OKC Thunder selected Gonzaga power forward Brandon Clark with the 21st overall pick, but then proceeded to trade him for Darius Bazley from the Grizzlies that same night. Well, as usual, a lot of fans were skeptical with the Thunder's decision to acquire Bazley. Well, after all, Brandon Clark has been viewed as one of the best options at the power forward position in the entire draft class, as he has been putting up 17 points and almost 9 rebounds for Gonzaga prior to entering the draft. While on the other hand, Bazley entered the NBA Draft as one of the biggest question marks out of all prospects, which you definitely understand if you follow this unique path while preparing to enter the NBA. And to give you a better picture, why don't we backtrack a little bit? Back in 2017, as a high school senior playing for Princeton High School in Ohio, Bazley was seen as one of the best young players in the country as he averaged more than 15 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks per game. At that time, the young Bazley was already classified as a 5-star recruit by most recruiting sites, and he was also a McDonald's All-American player. While during his junior year, he initially committed to play college ball for Ohio State, but a couple months later, he changed his mind while eventually opting to commit with basketball powerhouse Syracuse, citing that he wanted to play in a quote-unquote bigger stage. But months went on, and after a brief commitment to play in the NBA G League, which didn't push through as well, Bazley finally opted to sign a 3-month internship program with shoe company New Balance, which paid him $1 million. And in the end, as part of his internship deal, Bazley had to train all by himself while preparing for the NBA Draft. Basically, he went through the entire pre-draft process without the benefit of exposure which he could have had if he opted to play college ball in an NCAA school. And that basically explains why his draft stock dropped significantly during the months leading to the draft. Early on, Bazley was seen as a legitimate top 10 selection, but his limited visibility among NBA scouts ultimately led him to fall towards the latter part of the first round. But after all, it's great that the Thunder still chose to bank on this guy's potential, as Bazley is now seen as a legitimate piece of OKC's youth movement. But what is it exactly that makes Bazley a special player in the league? Well, of course, aside from his more than ideal physical tools for a modern NBA wing player, it's quite evident that this guy has one of the most well-rounded skill sets among all young NBA players today. Bazley is a 6'9" two-way threat who can create shots off the dribble, attack the rim with ease while having a smooth stroke when shooting it from deep. And his 7-foot wingspan also makes him a nightly threat on the defensive end. Plus his quick feet for his size enables him to defend multiple positions, which is a very important skill to have, especially in today's NBA, which emphasizes positionless basketball. So right by the get-go, it's not hard to see that Bazley already has all the tools to make a huge impact for the Thunder moving forward. But as is the case with young players, his rookie season was correct characterized by step-by-step development, and he didn't really enjoy the kind of rookie success that other wings from his draft class like Tyler Herro or Matisse Thybulle did enjoy, as prior to the 2020 All-Star break, Bazley only averaged 4.5 points and 3.7 rebounds while playing 17 minutes per game. While his limited playing time wasn't only a product of his underdeveloped play, but also because the Thunder didn't really feel the need to put him out for extended minutes because they were still trying to fight for playoff positioning during the season. Well, watching Bazley early in his rookie season, I felt like he seemed to press the issue offensively, and although he had the length and mobility to create his own shot, he seemed to get lost in possessions most of the time, which were all understandable for a then 19-year-old rookie. But it was after the season suspension that the guy seemed to find his groove on the court, as in 8 games in the bubble, Bazley's averages jumped to 13 points and more than 6 boards while also playing an increased 27.5 minutes per contest. And watching Bazley play during the NBA restart, you'll notice how he seemed much more comfortable handling the ball and creating his own shot while utilizing his step-back 3 most of the time. As in the 8 bubble seeding games, he shot a ridiculous 46.3% from deep, and it was also during this 8-game stretch when Bazley joined Russell Westbrook as the only rookies in Thunder franchise history to score more than 20 points in 3 consecutive games. And in the first round of the playoffs versus the Rockets, the upward trajectory of his game just continued, as in 7 games against Houston, Bazley's outside shooting got even better as he shot 50% from deep while attempting almost 4 3-pointers a game against a very potent Rockets team which featured great perimeter defenders like PJ Tucker and Jeff Green as well. And throughout the series, it was quite noticeable that Bazley shot the ball with more confidence and he had better decision making when he held the ball even late in the shot clock. But aside from his great 3-point shooting display in the playoffs, what's more impressive I think is how his defensive rebounding rate has skyrocketed to 36%, resulting in a 16% increase from his defensive rebounding rate from the regular season. And to put those numbers into context to see how impressive such improvement is, during Andre Drummond's last playoff series in 2019 while playing for Detroit, the big man only registered a 29% defensive rebounding percentage, which number is well below what Bazley has put up in the Houston series. And all those improvements which he showed in his first ever playoff series proves that he is someone who doesn't shy away from performing when it matters the most. And if any, that is quite a good indication for the Thunder. Well, currently, Bazley hasn't been able to hit his stride yet offensively as he's only putting up 10.4 points a game, and is also in an outside shooting slump as he's only hitting threes at a poor 27% rate. But considering that sophomore players aren't immune from experiencing shooting slumps, and considering that it's still quite early in the season, this is just normal. And you can only imagine OKC being a more dangerous team if he starts hitting his threes at a high rate again, because for the first time in years, the Thunder have a starting lineup which consists of guys who can all hit the 3 ball. But despite all of that, Bazley has been contributing in other ways. So far, he leads the Thunder in defensive win shares as he's been averaging 1 block per game, and it's amazing how Coach Daigneault has trusted him to guard an assortment of guys so far, including Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, and Anthony Davis. And I think it's still very underrated compared to other players from his draft class. And if any, he looks like one of the biggest steals from the 2019 draft right now, because currently, Bazley leads all players from his draft class in terms of blocks per game, and he also ranks second in total rebounds this season, only behind RJ Barrett. And so this early in his career, you can see that Bazley has already shown that he has the makings of a great two-way player. Well, it's actually hard to project the guy's ceiling right now, and the truth is, comparisons for wing players don't usually turn out to be correct over time. While you may say that his ceiling is close to Paul George, as other people have said, just by looking at how both guys share the same elite measurements for a wing player, while both are also able to handle the ball pretty well, score the ball in a variety of ways, and defend multiple positions. But right now, I think even that comparison is still sort of a long shot. But realistically, if you want to find a more realistic comparison in terms of career trajectory, I think you can look at Nick Batum. Well, aside from both guys having almost the same measurements, and aside from the fact that both played behind stars during their rookie years, what's more interesting is that their rookie statistics are very similar. As a rookie in Portland, playing behind guys like Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Greg Oden, Nick Batum put up 5.4 points and 3 rebounds a game while shooting 36% from the field. On the other hand, Bazley as a rookie averaged almost the same with 5.6 points and 4 rebounds per game while shooting 35% from deep. I think you can also see the similarities in their games with how they both move on the floor, attack the basket, and how both possess a pretty smooth looking shooting stroke. Well, I'm not saying that Bazley's career trajectory will will go exactly like Batum's, but if any, you can bank on this comparison to see how much better Bazley may turn out to be, considering that at this point, he looks much better overall as a rebounder, defender, and rim protector than Batum was during his sophomore season. And aside from having sky-high potential, I think Bazley also is in the right place at the right time at this point in his career, because unlike other wings from his draft class like Cam Reddish, who'll have to compete with Gallinari and Bogdanovic for minutes, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who'll have to play alongside Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe, Bazley is guaranteed to rack up all the minutes that he can play in OKC. Currently, he's playing the second most minutes per game for the Thunder at almost 30 minutes a night, only behind SGA, and all those playing time available for him will just help him speed up his development as a player. And basically, you can just see how much the Thunder are counting on him to grow into a legit star for this team. And I think that how they quickly traded Kelly Oubre, who would have taken some of Bazley's potential minutes away, is quite a good indication of that. Well, the truth is, Bazley may end up being a pretty good role player in the NBA at best, but I still believe that he'll more likely be a star in the future. I think he's in the perfect situation to be great. The Thunder is a great organization with a knack for turning good young players into NBA superstars. Well, so much has already been said about this team tanking and whatnot, but the truth is, Sam Presti has already set this team up for the future with all the assets and draft picks that he has acquired, however this season may end for them. But if Bazley, together with the team's young core pieces, develop quick enough, they might not even have to rely on all those draft picks that much moving forward. Thank you for sticking until the end of the video, and a huge shout out to all my fellow Thunder fans out there. Feel free to drop your thoughts on the comment section below, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe so you won't miss another fire NBA video which I put out regularly. Again, this is Rero Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.